Nobody likes a tie. Sorry, soccer fans, but come on, a tie? Like, congratulations, here's a ribbon for trying. Nope, not in my house, and not in baseball, at least in the regular season. During spring training, the Fish, they'll allow it. I guess. The Marlins coming off their first spring training loss yesterday, taking on the Mets. Pick it up top one. Diaz at the dish, that's a single to right. Jorge Alfaro, I know that guy. Come on down, big fella. Miami up 1-0. Bottom four now. Jonathan Villar pa la calle. That's a dinger to right, a 3-run shot, and it's tied up at 3. Later in the 5th and 6th, each team would score a run, and folks, it's a 4-4 tie for your final score. Yay! Orange slices for everyone. Pablo Lopez got the start today and tossed 3 innings with just 1 hit and 2 Ks. Jorge Alfaro finished the day 2 for 3 with a run. He's batting a beefy .500 thus far in spring training. That's right, Trina, Jackie, the Miami Dolphins got the guys they'd wanted in that first round of the NFL draft. With the 6th overall pick, Miami got some offensive help by reuniting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa with his Alabama wide receiver Jalen Waddle. And with the 18th pick, they didn't have to go very far as they took the Miami Hurricanes' Jalen Phillips. The disruptive edge rusher is certainly bound to make an immediate impact, according to GM Chris Grier. Tonight, the draft continues with rounds 2 and 3. Miami owns 2 picks in the second round and 1 pick in the third. The 36th, 50th, and 81st selections to be exact. They need a running back, an offensive lineman, maybe even a linebacker. Remember, on defense, they have to replace the production that Shaq Lawson and Kyle Van Noy left behind. Sources confirmed to me yesterday that Miami looked to move up in that first round for a running back, but ultimately did not. If that is the road they go down, currently UNC running back Javonte Williams will be a target, as would linebacker Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia, and possibly offensive lineman Trey Smith or Wyatt Davis. All things are pointing to running back at 36, but then again, it is the draft. Anything can happen. One final note to add, safety has also been a position that Miami is eyeing with guys like UCF's Richie Grant, or if they go safety in the later rounds, Damar Hamlin from Pitt could be the answer. Not elsewhere in the playoffs, the Knicks hosting the Hawks at the Garden, hoping to tie up the series at 2. Trae Young, he was having none of it. Second quarter long-range Trae, he finished with 27 and was 1 assist away from a double-double. All right, let's go to the third quarter. John Collins, my goodness. Impressive mid-range J. He puts up 22 and Atlanta up 11. To the fourth quarter we go. Former Knick Danilo Gallinari. Big man slam. That'll fall. The Hawks would cruise and win it 113-96. They now lead the series 3-1. Well, Trina, Roxy, what I can tell you right now is that the fans that I saw walking around Biscayne Boulevard, you wouldn't even notice that the Heat are down 2-0 right now because they're excited that basketball is back in Miami, playoff basketball that is. Now, as you can see, we're inside the arena for first time this year. A lot of changes for this Game 3 between the Bucks and the Heat, including the fans in attendance. 5,700 were the fans before. Today, the attendance will be up to 17,000. Health and safety protocols will also be in place for tonight's game, but you can now be seated shoulder to shoulder. You can also consume food and drink in your seat. Hand sanitizers, masks will be strictly enforced, but the playoffs are here in Miami, and we're hoping that Miami gets that victory to be able to climb themselves back into this series. The Miami Heat season officially over after losing Game 4 to the Milwaukee Bucks 120-103. Milwaukee Bucks, they advance in the postseason. I'm joined now by Ira Winderman of the Sun Sentinel. Ira, real quick, let me get your thoughts, not just on Game 4, but this playoff series against the Bucks. Okay, so obviously the Bucks advanced now. We've made it clear. We've seen it on the court, how they played. That's why they're moving on. If you're the Miami Heat, looking back at things, how could they have been different? What could have changed for their story to to be different. That is a great point, Ira. And now looking at the future, looking ahead, way early. I know the season just ended for Miami, but what happens next in the front office, on the court, that core of players, in order for Miami to continue to build into next season? Well, we will see. What we do know is that, unfortunately, the Miami Heat season is over after losing Game 4 to the Milwaukee Bucks, 120-103. They get swept 4-0. Milwaukee will now advance. Giving us his insight, as always, Ira Winderman from the Sun Sentinel. Ira, thanks. Yeah, Jawan, Jackie, a really sad story here. It was just days before this year's Super Bowl that it was in question whether Chiefs head coach Andy Reid would even coach in the game. The reason being that his son, Britt Reid, an assistant on his staff, was involved in a car accident where his truck slammed into 2 vehicles on the side of a highway in Kansas City that left a 5-year-old girl, Ariel Young, critically injured. Months later now, Reid has been charged with felony driving while intoxicated for his involvement in the crash. The Class D felony charge Monday stated that Reid, quote, operated a motor vehicle while under the influence of alcohol and acted with criminal negligence by driving at an excessive rate of speed, end quote. If convicted, Reid would face a maximum sentence of 7 years in prison. Jackson County prosecutor Gene Peters Baker said in a statement they will, quote, vigorously pursue these charges, and Reid is not receiving any favorable treatment from Kansas City police or the Jackson County prosecutor's office. Reid is expected to turn himself in and be booked today to be held on $100,000 bond with a GPS and alcohol monitor in place. Jawan, Jackie? And to talk a little more Miami football, we are joined by the Thrill himself, Randall Hill, former Kane national champion. And look, listen, Randall, first of all, thank you for joining us here on the show. It's a big week for Miami football as they get set to take on the #1 team in the country, Alabama. You're a former player. You know what that's like, that preparation week. So take me into that locker room and tell me what's going on in these players' minds as they lead up to game day.